This is London, the capital city of the United Kingdom, one of the richest cities on earth, an economy worth more than $500 billion. So large that if London were its own country, it would rank among the top 30 economies in the world. For nearly 2 centuries, London has been a global magnet for money, talent, ambition, and power. Finance, law, media, culture, innovation. People came here because this city promised something rare: opportunity, a better life, a future worth building. But behind the glass towers, the luxury penthouses, and the glossy headlines, there is a very different reality. And in 2026, that reality can no longer be hidden. London, and increasingly the entire UK, is emptying out. Not slowly, not quietly, but at a scale that would have been unthinkable just a decade ago. More than 347,000 people fled London in just 18 months. That's an entire city gone. Every single week, around 12,000 residents pack their lives into boxes and leave. These are not tourists, not students going home, not short-term movers. These are permanent residents, British citizens, families who lived here for generations, all reaching the same conclusion. The UK, and especially London, is no longer worth it. And before we go any further, if you want real, unfiltered analysis of what's happening to UK housing, migration, and living standards, not the PR version, make sure you like this video and subscribe to UK Property Report. Because what you're about to hear explains why the numbers keep getting worse and why most people still don't see it coming. For the first time since the Black Death of 1348, London's population is going into reverse. After decades of growth that pushed the city past 9 million residents, the momentum has collapsed. Office for National Statistics data confirms it. Net domestic migration is now deeply negative. More people are leaving London than arriving, and the pace is accelerating. The government doesn't like advertising this. It looks bad for a so-called world capital to be bleeding residents.
But the truth shows up elsewhere. Council tax records, GP registrations, school enrollments. Between January and November 2024 alone, an estimated 420,000 people left London permanently. The only reason the population hasn't collapsed even faster is because British families are being replaced by short-term international students, refugees, and temporary workers, and even they are starting to leave. Because the problem isn't just London, the problem is the UK itself. To understand why no one wants to live in the UK anymore, we need to start with the foundation of everyday life: housing. Because housing is where the entire system breaks. In theory, London is a high-wage city. In reality, it has become mathematically impossible for anyone who isn't in the top 5% of earners, and even they are struggling. In 2019, a one-bedroom flat in Zone 2 places like Clapham, Brixton, Hackney cost around £1,200 a month. Today, that same flat costs £2,400. That's not inflation, that's not market adjustment, that's a 100% increase in 5 years. 2-bedroom flats, the kind families actually need, jumped from £1,800 to £3,800 in decent areas. Want a house with a garden for your kids? £4,000 a month minimum. And that's in Zone 4, where you'll spend 2 hours a day commuting. Now compare that to wages. The average London salary increased maybe 15% over the same period. Most people saw no real raises at all once inflation was accounted for. Here's what that looks like in real life. A mid-level professional earning £45,000 a year, above the UK median, used to spend around 30% of take-home pay on rent. Today, that same person is spending 70% of their income just to have a roof over their head. After tax, they take home about £2,800 a month. Rent eats £2,000 of it. That leaves £800 for everything else. Food, transport, bills, clothes, savings. It's not living, it's survival.
And housing is only the beginning. Transport costs have exploded. A Zone 13 travel card cost around £2,000 a year in 2019. Today it's close to £2,800. But the real cost isn't money, it's time. The average London commute is now 74 minutes each way. That's 2.5 hours a day, 12 hours a week, over 600 hours a year. You are spending nearly a full month of your life every year standing on packed trains. People move further out to afford rent, then lose their lives commuting. Zone 6 looks cheaper until you factor in £3,000 a year in travel and 4 hours a day in transit. You're not saving money, you're just burning time. For families, London has crossed from difficult into impossible. Childcare now costs more than university. The average nursery fee is around £2,000 per month per child. That's £24,000 a year after tax. Schools are no better. Good state schools are oversubscribed 10 to 1. You need to live within 200 metres to get in. But homes near good schools cost millions. Can't afford that? Private school costs £25,000 a year per child. Let's do the math. A family with 2 children needs a 3-bedroom flat, £4,000 a month. Childcare or school fees, £4,000 a month. Basic living costs, £2,000 a month. That's £10,000 a month just to exist. £120,000 after tax. To earn that, you need a salary of around £180,000 before tax. How many people earn that? Exactly. This is why London's birth rate has collapsed, down 34% in 5 years. Families aren't forming, or they're fleeing. London has become a temporary holding pen for people in their 20s until reality hits. You arrive hopeful, you think you'll make it, build a career, start a life. Then you turn 30 and realize it's not happening here, so you leave. And what replaces affordability collapse is fear. Crime has surged while policing has collapsed. Knife crime is up over 40%. Phone thefts are up 300%. You can't walk with your phone out anymore. Everyone knows this.
Women don't feel safe, and they have names to prove it. Sarah Everard, Sabina Nessa, Zara Alina. These aren't statistics, they're women murdered just trying to get home. Every woman in London has a safety strategy now. Keys between fingers, fake phone calls, never walk alone. Even traditionally safe areas aren't safe anymore. The Metropolitan Police is in special measures, government language for system failure. Emergency response times average 52 minutes. Non-emergencies, they don't come at all. And this brings us to the final breaking point: healthcare. The NHS, once Britain's pride, is collapsing under its own weight. GP appointments take weeks, specialists take months. A&E waiting times average 8 hours. People are dying in waiting rooms. Private healthcare exists if you can afford it. £300 for a GP visit, thousands for treatment, £5,000 a year for basic insurance. Dental care effectively gone. Mental health services, 18-month waiting lists. London has some of the highest anxiety and depression rates in Europe, and no support. So people leave. Not just London, they leave the UK. And what's happening in London isn't an isolated failure, it's a symptom. Britain is getting poorer. Real wages flat for more than 15 years. People earning the same as 2008 while everything costs more. Housing shortages built over decades, social housing stripped away and never replaced, private rents rising, overcrowding growing, homelessness hidden but exploding, temporary accommodation doubling, councils bleeding money, young people locked out permanently. Productivity collapsed after 2008 and never recovered. Investment lagging behind the US, France, Germany. Businesses underinvesting. Infrastructure aging. NHS under strain. Doctors leaving. Nurses burned out. Infrastructure projects failing, HS2 delayed, over budget, then abandoned, Brexit exposing weaknesses, trade reduced, talent mobility restricted, London losing its edge, and then remote work changed everything.
People realise they didn't need to be here. Why pay £2,000 for a box when you can live better elsewhere? Manchester, Birmingham, Edinburgh, Dubai, Spain, Australia, not temporary moves, permanent exits. The people leaving aren't failures, they're the ones with options. Teachers, nurses, engineers, entrepreneurs, the productive middle. London is becoming a hotel, not a home. Temporary residents, empty communities, schools hollowing out, culture fading, identity disappearing. High costs drive people out. Fewer people means less tax. Less tax means worse services. Worse services drive more people out. A death spiral. Retail collapsing, offices empty, financial firms leaving, tourism weaker, the economy reduced to inflated property and foreign capital, housing as investment instead of shelter, a model that extracts but produces nothing, and when belief collapses, everything follows. You can't fix housing without crashing the economy. You can't rebuild services without money. You can't restore community when everyone is temporary. You can't fix the NHS without long-term investment that doesn't exist. Every solution threatens the system itself, so nothing changes. The UK drifts, slowly declining, quietly losing its people, pretending everything is fine. London survived the plague, the Great Fire, the Blitz, but it couldn't survive greed. It couldn't survive turning homes into financial instruments. It couldn't survive choosing profit over people. Nobody wants to live in the UK anymore because the UK stopped wanting people. It wants rent, taxes, labour, but not lives. Once people realise that, leaving becomes the only rational decision. This is why UK Property Report exists, because property explains everything. Power, policy, winners, losers. If you understand property, you understand why Britain is emptying out. And unless the entire model changes, this exodus will not stop. The numbers will get worse. The hollowing will deepen. And one day, people will look at London and ask a simple question. Where did everyone go? They'll find the answer in the empty flats, the silent streets, the closed schools, and the forgotten communities. This is Britain's warning, and it's already too loud to ignore.